Marites sat in the dimly lit room, her hands wringing a worn handkerchief she had folded and refolded 100 times. The silence outside only made her anxiety heavier, more real. Each tick of the clock echoed like a warning, a reminder that her son, Tanggol, was out there, somewhere, caught in a world filled with danger. Ever since he got involved with those people, ever since he chose that path, her heart had never been at peace. She had prayed every night, sometimes even questioned if God still listened. A mother's heart knows when something isn't right, and tonight, that feeling was stronger than ever. She remembered his words, the last ones before he left the house. "Ma, ako na ang bahala." But how can she not worry? How can a mother sleep peacefully knowing her child is walking among bullets, betrayals, and blood? Marites stood and walked to the window. The street lights outside flickered. She imagined him walking down that road, eyes sharp, jaw clenched, carrying the weight of a life he didn't ask for. The world had been unfair to Tanggol. Life had thrown him punches since he was a boy, and though he stood up each time, she knew some wounds never healed. Flashbacks of his childhood hit her like waves. Tanggol's laughter when he played by the river. His tears when he scraped his knee. His pride when he brought home a medal from school, despite having studied under a lamplight. He had always tried to be strong, to prove that he could rise above their situation. But strength came with a price. And now, Raymond's fury had turned toward her son. She couldn't forget the rage in his eyes, the accusations, the anger. Ramon was a storm, and Tanggol, for all his bravery, was still her boy. Flesh of her flesh, blood of her blood. She couldn't bear the thought of him being hurt, or worse, being lost forever to this war of pride and pain. She sat back down, her knees weak, her spirit restless. Maybe if she had done more, maybe if she had begged Tanggol harder not to go, maybe if they had moved away, far from the chaos of Quiapo, this wouldn't be happening. But regrets are for the quiet moments, and tonight was loud with dread. Neighbors had begun to whisper. Some said Tanggol was becoming like his father. Others said he was just trying to protect the family. Marites didn't know who to believe anymore. All she knew was that her son had a good heart. Hardened by the streets, yes, but still good. Still hers. The radio in the background hummed a news report. Another shootout. Another unidentified victim. Her breath caught. She turned the volume up, her hands trembling. It wasn't him. Thank God. But the fear remained, clinging to her like a shadow. She remembered the first time Tanggol got into a fight. He was 12. Some older kids had mocked his torn slippers. He came home with bruised knuckles and a busted lip. She had scolded him then, told him violence solved nothing. He looked at her with tear-filled eyes and said, "Pero ma, kung hindi ako lumaban, apakapakan lang nila ako." Those words haunted her now. Marites wasn't blind. She knew the streets raised her son as much as she did. And while she tried to teach him kindness, the world around them taught him survival. And sometimes, survival required fists, even bullets. A knock at the door startled her. Her heart leapt to her throat. She rushed to open it, only to find Aling Belen, the neighbor, holding a bag of pan de sal. Marites forced a smile. They exchanged a few words, but her mind was elsewhere. Her ears still listened for footsteps. Her heart still beat for Tanggol. She returned to her seat, the bag untouched on the table. Her eyes scanned the old family photo framed on the wall. Tanggol, just 8 years old, smiling with innocence. That smile had faded in recent years. She had watched the light in his eyes dim, replaced by the cold calculation of a young man forced to grow too fast. What kind of life was this, where mothers had to wonder each night if their sons would come home? She clutched the rosary tighter. "Guide him, Lord, please." Her whispers were broken, desperate. She didn't care if she had to beg heaven 1,000 times. As long as Tanggol was safe, she would pray every second. The clock struck 12, midnight. Still no word, no call, no knock. Every sound outside made her flinch. Every motorbike passing by, every bark of a dog, every whisper of wind against the walls felt like a sign. But no, it wasn't him. Not yet. Sometimes she would dream of him as a boy, safe and happy. And in those dreams, she would hold him tight, like she used to when he was scared of thunder. But real life had no dreams, only fear, only waiting. The streets had claimed many sons of Quiapo. She had watched mothers cry over caskets too small for the life they once carried inside them. She had lit candles for boys she once saw playing patintero in the alley. She refused to light one for Tanggol. Not her boy, not yet. She kept replaying their last conversation. Had she said, "I love you"? Had she looked into his eyes long enough to make him feel it? What if those were the last words? The world outside was cruel. She had known that, but it didn't make it easier. Not for a mother. Not when every heartbeat carried the weight of love and fear in equal measure. Then, a noise. Footsteps. The gate creaked. She rose again, hands trembling. Was it him? The door opened, and there he was. Bruised, bloody, breathing, but alive. She rushed to him, arms wrapping around his body. Her tears fell freely now, soaking his shirt. He didn't say anything. He just held her, tight, as if the world outside couldn't touch him now that he was home. For tonight, at least, Marites could breathe. But tomorrow, the worry would begin again.